Hello, you wonderfully amazing people. Today is May 20th, I believe, and we are in the garden all day. It is the day that we finish planting. I've started planting. There are other videos out there with those plants. And I was so happy because the gnats were leaving me alone, and now they're back. And a mosquito got my eyelid, man. Talk about annoying. That thing swelled up real bad. And there's not much you can do for your eyelid because it's so sensitive. But today, we are going to finish planting out the garden, make sure it's weeded really well, and bring back the beauty. And since I am taking out all the flowering weeds to plant food, I do have a lot of annuals that I went and purchased to make sure that the bees have plenty of food while they're waiting for everything else. And there are more tomatoes. So many tomatoes, and I'll be giving tomatoes away to friends and family. Let's get this wonderful day started. Hopefully the gnats leave me alone. I'll see y'all on the flip side. All right, we're starting this off by pulling up all of these weeds. They look really, really bad. However, a lot of them are clumping weeds, so it really doesn't take all that long. And the tool you see me using is just my DeWalt drill, and I have a bulb attachment. It's a drill head thing that you put into your drill, and it digs holes for bulbs. I have learned that it works really, really, really well in the garden. So since getting a tiller out here would be so difficult because of the rock, and I don't really know how to use the tiller or have the strength to manhandle it throughout this entire garden, I figured out that I could use this drill and do it by hand that way, and it was super helpful and sped up the process so much. So the beds that I'm in right now, these are a lot of tomatoes. A whole lot of tomatoes. I may have gone a little far on the tomatoes. Luckily, we love them. And I'll be preserving them up in the fall. So there is always that. And we're going to continue to pull out weeds and get things planted as we pull them out. And again, if it does seem like I am all over the place, I do tend to chase the shade because the sun and I have a very stressful relationship. It likes to poison me, but I like to be in it. So we have to have a balance. In this bed, I am getting the weeds cleared out, obviously, and then I am going to be putting in, I believe those are going to be radishes. And I'm just popping in the seeds because I didn't have enough of everything to fill that bed. So on the edges, we're putting flowers and just different annuals to bring in some life and some color. And then throughout the middle, I am tossing in some radish seeds. If anybody has any idea what I do with radishes, please let me know. The reason I planted them is one, I know they're good for you, and two, they're supposed to really help the soil in a bed that if you're not prepared to plant it and put all the things in it, that you can then keep it healthy. Something like that. I read that somewhere. It's very weird, and I read a lot of things. So if anybody has any ideas on what I can do with radishes, because it seems like we're going to have quite a few if all of those germinate. In this next bed, I believe I put in some small sweet pumpkins on the edges so that they'll vine out into the garden and take over the walkways. And then in the middle, I ended up putting some other, some other annuals that just bring in a bit of color and help block weeds because I'm trying to avoid the weeds. And I do believe next year I will be using weed fabric. So it's a little too late this year. I will just have to keep up with the weeds this year. In this bed, again, I am putting annuals on the edges so that they're pretty and they flower and bring in bees. And then along the edges of this bed, I am putting winter squash, again, so they'll vine out over the edges and I'll probably not be able to walk through these pathways if they all successfully bloom or propagate, germinate, whatever. I think it's germinate, if they germinate. But I've never grown any type of squash other than zucchini and spaghetti squash, so I don't know how the pumpkins are going to do, how the winter squash are going to do, how the watermelons are going to do. I have no idea. If you have any hints or tips, I would love to have you leave those down in the comments. That would be fabulous. And in the bed I am about to start, this is our watermelon bed. And I put it this close to the front because we had to move dirt to mound the watermelons. That's the only thing I know about growing watermelons. This year is extremely experimental if you haven't noticed yet. So we're trying a whole bunch of different things. We don't know what we'll like, what we'll dislike. I did plant a lot of beans, peppers, and tomatoes because I know those are things that we are going to use. Everything else is pretty much a test. I know I'll use all the herbs, but the rest of it, yeah, we are testing theories and ideas and just getting things in the ground that we know we like. We have no idea if we will be successful. So that will be to come later. Down this row, I am planting loofahs, which also I have never grown, but I wanted to keep weeds out of that area and get something vining up the cattle panel. If all of these germinate, I will have enough loofahs to send to the world, most likely. But again, this is a trial. I have never done loofahs before, so we're going to just see how this goes. And I believe I put some baby comfrey plants back there in the back. And then my tray thing kind of went awry, which will be corrected next year. And that is in an upcoming video. So we're going to finish getting these planted and then get the rest of the areas cleaned up and ready to go. Not every bit is planted because I just don't have enough plants, but we got it done. Come back when they're shady, when there's shade, and I will water everything. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I know everybody is super busy and has a lot on their plates. If you do like these types of videos, please go ahead and give that like button a cute little boop on the nose. Leave any comments you have down below, especially if it has to do with what I can do with radishes. That would be highly appreciated. And please go ahead and subscribe to see what else is coming in the future. There are big plans for this homestead, and I hope to see you around. Thank you again so much, and have a blessed and magical day, everybody. Thank you.